So let's talk about the contract of sale. As previously mentioned, the definition is the same. So the definition of the contract of sale is in which one party, the seller, undertakes to deliver the merchandise or the property to another party or buyer, and purchaser agrees to pay the seller money. Seller and the buyer must agree on the property and the price. So the requirements, therefore, has to be, there has to be an agreement. So let's say I'm selling my cell phone to B. So there has to be an agreement that I am selling my cell phone to B, and B has to agree that he is buying my cell phone from me. Okay, and it has to be definite or ascertainable. So something is definite if it's mentioned by the name in the contract of sale or in the agreement, or parties were in the agreement of a thing being sold. So let's say, for example, I'm selling my cell phone, which is an iPhone 10. So it has to be mentioned by its name on the agreement. Okay, so if let's say it's more than one or two things, then the quantity of that particular property or the things that I'm selling, they also have to be mentioned within the context of the contract of sale. So now the purchase price, so the price for the merchandise must be agreed upon. So A and B must be able to agree on the price. So if I'm selling my cell phone iPhone 10, I'm selling it for 300 Rand. Have to communicate with B, tell him, B, here's my cell phone, I'm selling it and it's 300 Rand, and we must agree on that particular rate. Okay, so we've already said must be definite or ascertainable, must be mentioned on the contract, so that if one sees it, then he will know that that is the very same thing that was mentioned on the contract, on the contract. So the price, the amount of money, it has to be money. So when we're drafting a contract of sale, my payment has to come in the form of money. So if I say, okay, here's my cell phone, we're selling it 300 Rand, you have to pay me money, 300 Rand, and then you can take the phone, then it's a contract of sale. So in the event that I say, okay, fine, you can have my cell phone, and then you're going to give me your laptop for swap, then it's no longer a contract of sale. It has become a contract of exchange. So when we're exchanging products or exchanging things, anything else other than money, then it's no longer a contract of sale. It's now a contract of exchange. Okay, cool. So let's go to transfer of ownership. Transfer of ownership is something very big, broad. Okay, that's the word. Transfer of ownership can be very broad, and then it is also regulated by law, depending on whatever it is that you're transferring. Let's say, for example, for the purposes of a house, which is an immovable property, it is regulated by, you have to register at the deeds registry, right? So that's the one place that regulates like the transfer of ownership of immovable property. Okay, so we do have the 4 requirements that are set for the transfer of ownership. In order for the transfer of ownership to actually start or commence or finish, there are different types of deliveries that can be used. So for example, if it's an immovable for delivery, let's say, for example, you bought my my cell phone, and I kind of have to deliver the phone to you, give it to you, and then that's where the ownership has now been transferred to you. You have paid, I have given you the phone, you have paid me, so it means that I have delivered. Okay. And then so in cases of immovable property, just as I mentioned a second earlier, for the cases of the house, your immovable property must be registered in the deeds office in order for the transfer of ownership to actually commence. Okay. And then both parties must have the intention that ownership passes from S to P. So we need to have the intention. I need to intend to that I'm giving you this phone so that you're going to pay me, and then transfer of ownership must be transferred from me to you. And you also need to be very intentional about this and know that transfer of ownership is from me to you. Understand? Okay, cool. And then S must be the owner and in possession to transfer ownership. Okay, so when we say S must be the owner, I must be the owner of that particular thing. Otherwise, it's going to be a different story. If I'm selling something that does not belong to me, I cannot transfer the rights that I don't even have. Okay, it's called the Nemo plus Juris rule. You can't transfer more than what you have. You just can't. Okay. And then if it's cash or security, sale ownership changes once the cash or security is received by S. So excuse me. So in cases of cash or security of sale, the payment must reach me, before it must reach me, must receive it before the ownership changes upon to delivery. So if you are paying money into my account, it has to clear. I have to see that the money is there before ownership can actually take place. So now we spoke about delivery. So now let's go into detail into what is delivery. Okay. So in cases of movable property, that is like your car, your cell phone, your laptop, delivery to P, it must take the form of actual delivery. Okay, so we have different forms of delivery. We have actual, we have symbolic, we have longhand, and then we have shorthand. So in cases of actual delivery, it is the physical handing over of the thing from S to P. Okay, and then for symbolic delivery, it is when, for example, you have bought yourself a car from myself, and I feel like I am not able to kind of bring the car to you. I'm just gonna give you the set of keys. So that means that I'm giving you control over the car wherever it is. I don't have the keys anymore. You are the one with the keys. So I'm giving you control, and I am somehow delivering the car to you, even though I'm just using the keys. Okay. So the longhand, the delivery with the longhand, this is in cases where, for example, it's huge. So let's say, for example, like in a factory, and then it's containers, those containers that can't move. So now I can't, because I can't carry those containers and give them to you. I can point them out and be like, hey, those are the containers that you just bought, right? So that a delivery would have taken place in that manner. And then the last one is delivery with the shorthand. So delivery with the shorthand is in the instances where you already have, or you're already in possession of my thing before I actually sell it to you. So let's say I had borrowed you my cell phone, and you still have my cell phone, and I am now trying to sell it to you, but it's already with you. Okay, so it does not necessarily mean that you're already the owner. You will only become owner once you have paid me that 300 Rand for the phone. So that's delivery with a shorthand. So if you give me that 300 Rand for the phone, you already have your phone. And then, so it means that delivery is complete, and then now you can actually become an owner. Okay, cool. Let's go to the registration, which is pretty short, sweet, and straightforward. Registration of immovable properties transferred via registration in name of P at the deeds office once registered ownership changes. So with houses, it's a little bit complicated, but registration will have to take place at the deeds office. And then once the registration is complete, then ownership will now change from S to P. Okay, another element is intention that ownership be transferred. So both parties must have the intention that the property must be transferred by means of delivery. So for example, if it was a house, and then we are intending that, okay, fine, delivery from me to you or transfer from me to you, we must all do this with the intention, knowing that transfer will be completed from myself to yourself. Okay. And then the last one is that, no, it's not the last one actually. The payment, no, not that one. Okay, cool. The seller must be the owner. Guys, you cannot you cannot sell something that does not belong to you. If it doesn't belong to you, you don't have the rights over it. If you're not the owner, you cannot deliver it. And then you can only obtain these rights if you're an owner. But if you're not an owner, then you can't. And if it's stolen property, the real owner can claim it back, even if it was obtained in good faith. The real owner can come in and claim those back, like myself. For example, I was looking forward to going home, and no, okay, I can't use that example. Okay, so if somebody took my things unlawfully, and then I can be able to claim them back. And then if somebody took my things lawfully, like let's say for example, I go home, like this weekend I wanted to go home, and then I can't go home, and then somebody decides that he will take my stuff, that they're gonna bring them to me, and then along the way they decide to divert the route and go wherever, I can be able to claim them back because I am the owner, you know. And then payment of purchase price. So with regards to payment of purchase price can only change ownership once the payment has already been made. Ownership can only change once payment has already been made. So yeah, thank you.